This is Lee Tarriott from PW Mania with the great Akki. How are you doing, Akki? Are you well?
I am fantastic. Lee, very, very nice to meet you. Very, very nice to meet to all of you who are listening. I'm in your ear,
Yeah.
but it has been nice. Yes.
You're in the airport right now. We are just talking off air. You're in
Yeah.
Orlando, is that right?
Yes, I am in Orlando. I actually gave you so much trouble because we were supposed to do this like 3 weeks ago, but I had to travel from Japan to the whole thing. And this time to like when you were like, we'll talk, I'm like, okay. And then uh, I was still traveling
Oh,
this
not a
time as
problem, not a
well.
problem. I
But
mean, there's
we can
good
make it
there's good
happen.
reason. There's good reason for it. You have just been performing in Mexico for
Yeah.
CMLL. How's it
Yeah.
been working for CMML?
It was incredible. Like I think, and also the way they called me, like they could have just called me for a show, and I could have done like 2 weeks with them and just be back like an excursion. But CMLL does like a very special thing where they do like a Grand Prix in which they make like the team of the world versus Team Mexico. So it's basically every wrestler who wrestles there is representing their country. So I was there representing India.
Right.
First, like I've never done that. I mean, pro wrestling is an individual's entertainment or sports or whatever you want to call it, but it's your own thing. But to be able to have like my flag on those freaking 30 feet freaking screens just waving and me making my entrance and representing India, they deduced me as the representative of India. Oh, that was special.
How
That
did you
was
find,
that
yeah,
was
how did you
special more
find
than
working?
anything.
I bet. How did you
It was
find working?
incredible. It was nostalgic almost because I've done that this before. Like I went to Japan 5 years ago, like 4.5 years ago, and I didn't speak the language. I didn't know their style of working because I've only seen WWE before. I've never seen that, and I had to throw everything away to like learn from like just I basically like threw everything away just so I can become empty and be able to absorb that wrestling. But this time, it was exciting. This time it was way more exciting because I have a base now. I come from Japan. My base wrestling is from Japan, and like I don't speak language there. Nobody speaks English there. I don't speak Spanish. And the way they wrestle is as foreign to you as anything can be. They have like three. Every match is a like 2 out of 3, and every fall is a is 2 out of 3, or you beat the captain. So in one match, there possibly can be 6 falls, and it's mutually break. Everything is right-sided, and it's the whole thing. It's incredible. It's like walking into a different world.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
exciting. It's unbelievably exciting. You don't know shit.
Yeah.
You don't know anything, and it's
So
incredible because
how
you
does
don't know
it
anything.
how does it differ to Japanese wrestling? And you're learning all these different styles.
Like it's more like Japanese wrestling is, as if you have to like really boil it down to it comes about fighting. It's about martial arts. It's about that presence. That's why like the audience is also silent because they're watching. Watch a really good movie. Like there's two ways you can watch it. There's that action flick, and you watch it like watching Rocky, or like you yell when you watch Rocky. If you're with your friends, you're going really like you're yelling out, "Let's go America" or whatever. Right? It's like watching a country versus country. You do that. Like if England is having a cricket match with India, you're yelling. If you're with your mates and you have 2 beers, you're yelling. Of course you're yelling.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things. And then there could be times where you're watching a thriller. Let's just say, if you're watching it alone or if you're watching with your mates, because you have to pay attention. You're really watching, and that's why you're silent. It's not that you're not invested. You're very invested. That's why you're silent. Because you don't want to miss anything. That's martial arts. If you see two samurais fight, one would die at any point. You don't know, and that's where it comes from. That's why they say bushido or the spirit. Bushido literally means the Japanese spirit of a samurai. That's what bushido means.
Hmm.
Like bushido, the word literally translates to the spirit of a samurai. So like that fighting thing comes from that. That's why the audience is so it's so mesmerized. Like they're paying attention, and when you have a like a separation, they clap because they have seen it. They really pay attention. And but on the other hand, Mexico is completely what I just told you. It's cricket, New Zealand versus England. It's beers. Everybody's going bonkers. That's what's celebrate. Nobody gives. No, it. You gotta be cool. Lucha Libre is cool. Japanese wrestling is very intense. It's momentary face, like momentary. Japanese wrestling is basically everything hangs on every moment, and you're very intensely paying attention. Lucha Libre is when are you gonna be cool? Tell me. I'm
Ah,
ready.
yeah,
And then you're going,
yeah,
it's
crazy.
it's completely different design. But I think because I got very excited about it because I feel like now that I know the American way of wrestling. I've known it since I was a kid. I've seen it. I know. I know the Babe Healy. I know the yells in the crowd. I know the bad mouth thing. I know that whole stuff. But then I know Japanese now. The Japanese wrestling. I know how to pay attention. I know. Like I wrestle in a way that I look into your eyes when I wrestle. Like it's just you and me.
Mm.
That's where it's all about. Here, nobody's watching. I don't care if anybody's watching, and if they're watching, they're watching. I don't care. But it's here, and that creates that intensity between just you and me. But lucha libre, I think, is something that can make you good in 2 minutes instead of having a 20-minute.
Yeah, it's just
Like
so
like
fast
it, it,
paced.
it doesn't matter if you have 30 seconds or 30 minutes. Lucha libre is full. So I think it can. I really felt like I might get better. Like I genuinely might get better as an entertainer, as a wrestler, as a performer, because lucha libre can really give you the tools to be good in like 30 seconds, in like a 2 minute segment. Forget
Yeah.
about having like a time to and get everybody in, and then bring in those moments that gets people the tingles in your neck and like really like gets you like those moments. You need time to get those. But Lucha Libre, you're doing nothing. I'm gonna show up and you're gonna yell. That's what I'm gonna make.
Wow. Incredible. And I guess like is it how important is it to you to
And
wrestle?
that's what it's about. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
I bet. And how important is it to you to wrestle all over the world? Oh, I think we may have lost you.
There we go.
So Aki, yeah, how important is it to you to wrestle all over the world?
It is very. It is. I mean, you can say it's as important as the day I wanted to become a wrestler. Like that, this is being a wrestler to me is. Um, like it's hard to like get that into perspective, but to me, when I was watching wrestling, wrestling is a foreign thing. Like as its nature, it's a foreign thing to me. Because if you are in UK, if you are in England, and you want to be a wrestler, well, you see wrestling in your town every weekend. You can become it. Of course, I'm gonna become it. Like the guy next door does it. Of course, I can become. It. Of course, I do. How do I become one? Just talk to that dude and get to that class, and then now you're 13 and you're doing a debut, or you're 14. You know, in front of like 15 people. If like forget about the fact that 10 of them are parents, but still, you can do it. Of course, you can do it. But at the same thing in Japan, if you want to become one, there's tons of companies. You join a company, you go to a dojo, you work hard, you become a wrestler. Same with US. You see wrestling all the time. There's actually too much wrestling to watch. But for me, wrestling has always been foreign. Wrestling is something that I watch on TV. It's the same as Hollywood movies. You see them on TV. That's all you do. I don't know. I never seen wrestling. Like the first time I saw wrestling live was in Japan.
Wow.
Can you believe that? I did shows. I started a company when I was 19 because I started training at 17 and I couldn't debut till I was 19. I debuted in 2 years and 5 months after I started training because there was no company in Japan, in India, where I can debut. There was no shows. So I started a company with a mate of mine and we put on a show and I made my debut. But I would do a show every 1.5 months. And it was incredible because it was for the first time something that's not supposed to be here.
Wow.
It's not foreign anymore. You can see it. Like people do it. Oh wow. And then that changes stuff. But for me, the fact that it's foreign cannot be changed. Because even though Indian wrestling is in its infantile situation right now, it's trying to brew, it's trying to really grow, but it's not there. You gotta be world class to create something world class. And you gotta go to the world to be one of the, one of the world class ones.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't, if I'm the guy in India, let's just say, and I'm the best at wrestling, let's just say, for the argument's sake, then that doesn't do anything for me because I'm good already. I ain't gonna get better. There's people better than me here.
Yeah.
There's no one. Like, who do I look up to? If I'm the one who's training kids when I'm 21 and they look up to me, who do I look up to? Yeah. Nobody.
That's it. You're starting the trend.
What I have to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like so it's basically I didn't even know like there was wrestling in Japan, by the way. When I started training for wrestling, I generally didn't know. So a friend of mine was really a big fan of like the Kings Road Japan wrestling. There were only two of us. The two of us trained for 2.5 years straight. Just two of us. Nobody else. Nobody. I was very lucky to find him. He's a good friend of mine to this day. He still kind of works hard in India. But I was just lucky that I found him. I think we talked to the it's weird. I have to, because it's starting to sound weird. I have to say this, like tell you a little bit of the story now. But there was one dude who was a really big fan of wrestling, and he had a ring in his backyard. He made a ring somehow. It was a very wonky ring. It hurt a lot, but there was a ring, and he put it in his backyard. And me and him went to him and asked him to rent that ring to us so we can, train in it. And me and him went to him within 1 week of each other. Wow. And he went, oh, another dude showed up like 4 days ago. And I'm like, what's his? And I just contacted him like, hey, I'm going to do this. And like, I'm going to do this too. And then we just showed up, started watching videos and beating each other up for the next 2.5 years. And that's how I became wrestlers. That's how we became wrestlers.
Amazing.
But because of that, like, yeah, it genuinely is. It's a shitty story. But I feel embarrassed about it every time I tell it but I have to tell it because then it doesn't add up, the things I say. So like because of that, he told me about Japanese wrestling, and I got interested in Japanese wrestling. And I'm like, oh, this is something different. Like, this is a fever dream. What are they? They're just beating each other up for 20 minutes. For 20 minutes, just standing in the ring, beating the shit out of each other. There's no big move. There's no how or hurrahs. There's no unnecessary things into the audience. There's no taking pose for no reason just to be a bad guy. There's none of that. They're just two dudes who are fighting. That's all that's happening. And it freaked me the hell out. Then I searched for everything. I'm like, let's watch what else is there. Then I really searched and then I realized like Japanese wrestling has the highest standard of wrestling in my eyes, of everything I saw. And do you know why I do that? Because I used to watch indie shows. Because if you watch New Japan and All Japan, of course their product is good. They're the top at the industry. But I would find super indie shows and watch them to see like what's the least level. What would I do if I go to Japan? Because I'm not going to do the main event of New Japan. There's no point in me watching Ric Flair versus Steamboat. That's not what I'm going to do. I'll be the guy doing match number 1 for 4 minutes. I want to watch that dude. So I used to watch super indie show and first 3 shows of every country to see what's the level is at. If I show up, this is the guy I'm wrestling. I know now. So where's the level? This is the level. The top guys, that's different. That's a different world. You got to work hard to get there. That's everywhere good. The main eventers are good everywhere, but that's not where the level is. The level is where the average dude is. Okay, let's see that. And I used to find that, and I really realized Japan has the highest level of quality in any wrestling anywhere. And I'm like, okay, let's go to Japan then. So that's why it took me 2.5 years, by the way. I had to because just the same way, like I just told you in the beginning of the thing, because of that, I had the same problem then. Like I got invited when I was 19 from Japan, and the Japanese embassy just rejected my visa, and I couldn't reapply for the next 6 months. So I had to try and really build myself up. I'm a company owner. This is my LLC, Like you can't run shows in India unless you have a proper you have to go to the government to get permission. Every show you do, you have to get the police there. You have to it's just like you're organizing an event. It's a big deal. You have to get permission from the district that you're running in a show in, and you need a company to do that. So I had to start a LLC, like a proper company with like employees and budget and pay taxes and all of that to like get permissions to do shows. And then now I own a company now with a mate, like so we used to do that, and that's how I was able to go to Japan, because I sort of like, oh, this is my company, this is what I do, and I want to do this in Japan now, so would you let me? And they're like, okay, we'll give
Oh
you a
wow.
short visa. And then I did a short visa, and then I did longer, and then longer, and then longer, and now I'm a resident in Japan.
Yeah. And then so
Basically,
how has it come about now that you're going to be, I know at the moment, Sally, you won't be able to come to London, but you've been involved in what's
yeah,
going on with Pro Wrestling Eve. Tell me about that.
like Choco Pro is the thing that came about. I was actually in UK. I was in UK for 5 months, and I went right before the pandemic. I was like, I was missing Japan a lot because I used to live there for a year. And I'm like, let me go do a tour of Japan. I went back to India for a month, got a visa for Japan, and I went back to Japan as a wrestler. And when I got there, in 3 days, the pandemic happened. So I did 3 matches in 5 days. 3 days, I think. I wrestled DDT. I got the move, and I wrestled one more show. And then that day, the pandemic just became a thing in Japan, and everything shut down. So because everything shut down, now I'm in Japan, and I've been in Japan the whole time. I've been 3.5 years because I was there in the pandemic. I got lucky because I was there because I could wrestle. And I'm in Sakura. There's something called Choco Pro because nobody could wrestle. And she was like, we need something to wrestle. We need something. So she goes, I'm gonna start a new company. I'm like, what? Like why? Like it's things are stopping right now. We might not even know if the world will make it. And she goes, that's why we need a new company. That's why we need something new, something fresh, something to give hope that things might still happen. Like she made me wrestle Minoru Suzuki on Choco Pro 1, and the tagline was dreams still do come true in this world. That's that's what Choco Pro is. There was no Choco, like the pandemic or COVID or anything wasn't mentioned a single time in 1.5 years until the pandemic was relevant on Choco Pro. Never mentioned once. It was never depressing. Nobody ever cried. Nobody wasn't like, it was a 1.5 hour of you just being there and being happy. Like nothing has gone wrong. Like nothing has happened. Like the world is the way it is. And it's always been this way. Like this, it was an escape part for us and the people who watched it. That's why we have such a strong connection with the people. That's why like Choco Pro community is so positive, because it came about being positive. And Ami Sakura said to us, like, I have my funds and my company's funds and everything, because she kept paying everybody. Like, and she also said, like, I want to pay everybody because it's going to be hard, and I can't pay them for no reason. So I need to make a reason. Something happened so that I can pay them. And then she changed. She started paying people, and she's like, I have 8 months. In 8 months, I will go to zero. Everything I own and everything the company owns will go to zero in 8 months. But for that 8 months, Choco Pro will go on, and we just did the shows.
Amazing.
And then we started no pay wall so people can support us, and then we still do the shows. We are at 330 something right now, 320 something shows of Choco Pro in
Amazing.
3 years. We did 100 shows in exactly 1 year
So
of
cool.
Choco Pros, and it's just all crowdfunded. No, not a single, like, it's no pay wall. Everything we do is for free, and
Amazing.
she wanted that because she wanted as many people to be able to watch it as possible. And then we're like, okay, we'll just keep it. And even when audience came back, she's like, I can't take away this now. I can't take away this no pay wall now. Even though it hurts us as a business, she's like, I can't take this away. I'm gonna keep doing it so people can watch, people can have a good time, people can have a good smile on their face. And that Choco Pro, Ami Sakura has been a friend of Eve. Where Eve comes in is like, Ami Sakura has been traveling to UK for the last 10 years. And the people that she travels with is Eve. Dan Reed has been a friend of ours for a long time. Has been a friend of mine. Has helped me incredibly when I was in the UK last time. It was a very, very good friend of mine. And a thing came about where they were like, they might do Choco Pro. And they do Choco Pro in UK in the all-in weekend. So Choco Pro is going to run a show get a venue. It is a venue. Like I think the show sold out. I think like it's a very small show. It's like 120 people, 130 people, but it sold out in 20 minutes.
Amazing.
When we announced it, blew blew us away. Like genuinely blew us away. And we're gonna do that show. Like the card hasn't been announced yet. Even the show is like a week away, and the card isn't even out yet. Because we're
So
like, there's another show that we're doing the same day, Choco Pro at Eve. It's very Choco Pro, by the way. We announced our own cards like 2 days before.
Yeah,
that's
good.
that's the kind of, it's a chaotic thing. But we are still have Choco Pro X Eve in the evening, and I think there's like 10 tickets left. I think for that because it got sold out once, but Dan asked the menu to like add tickets, and we have been adding tickets since a little by little. I think you can still get like a few ones because somebody canceled or something. I don't know, but there might be a few tickets if you still want to get it. You can get it, and the match card for that is being announced right now. So I think that show gets announced first, and then Choco Pro the rest of the card will get announced because it's Choco Pro. People know. People are used to us announcing the card one day before. So
Amazing.
That'd be all.
So
yeah.
Just to finish then, Akki,
Yeah.
like what can people expect then on Saturday?
Well, a few things. The wrestling we do is about two things basically. I think three at most. It's easy, very much, as in it's lighthearted, as in it's for the fact it's there to have fun. It's not there for its own sake and you admire it. No, it's there for you to have fun. The point of the wrestling is you. That's what Choco Pro is. It's a one lens camera, and you are the audience.
Wow.
It's a one-person shooter basically. If you're talking about video games, that's basically what it feels like. So the whole point of it is you. And the second thing is that because it feels that way, it's more of an experience than like a wrestling show, because you're very involved when you're the audience member in Choco Pro. You're very involved. Second thing you could say is that we do intergender wrestling, mixed wrestling. We call it mixed. I hate the word intergender. For some reason, it sounds weird to me. I love mixed wrestling, and we do mixed wrestling as naturally as you can imagine. Like it's not a thing for us to do it. We just do it. We just do it like in our head. If I wrestle somebody who's 148 centimeters tall and 48 kilograms, well, I'm gonna wrestle him or her. Like that's who she or he is, basically. And also, that to us isn't the point of the match, if that makes any sense.
Brilliant. And so point 3 of Choco Pro.
The point 3 is basically we wrestle anywhere and everywhere. We wrestle in a room, we wrestle in a ring, we wrestle on a mat, anything you give us. We know how to fight. That's what basically Choco Pro comes down to. We are a very versatile kind of place. It doesn't matter if you are young or old. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter if you are, in any capacity of a venue. It doesn't matter if you're in a ring or, what looks like a waiting room in a hospital. You can have anything and everything. We'll wrestle. And you will be there watching us, basically. You'll be intimate. We'll get interacted with you. We'll try everything as much as we can to get you into the show. That's the kind of wrestling we do.
Amazing. And is there plans for it? Do you like that it's intimate, or is there plans for it to get bigger? What is it in its perfect space?
We love it that it's intimate. I think the kind of wrestling we do, it has to be intimate. Of course, you can make it big, but if you make something big, then it looks like the things that are big. Like Ami Sakura has a slogan that she has used for like years now, and I think Choco Pro finally is making it happen. Like Chisai Mama Okikunaru. It's in Japanese. It translates to be big while staying small. Right. And I think Choco Pro does that. Like I am from Choco Pro. I just did CML Grand Prix. That's big, but I'm still from Choco Pro. I'm from that intimate little place. Ami Sakura is a wrestler with AEW and wrestles like on a monthly basis on American TV. She's the owner. May Suruga did Grand Prix last year, did wrestles at some of the biggest shows in Japan. Still, Chocopro. So amazing. I think Chocopro has, because it's internet, because it's brought us to the people on their phone, on their screen. They can love us from anywhere. It doesn't matter where we wrestle. Like Chocopro doesn't even need to be anywhere. It can be anywhere. We live on the internet. So because we live there, we can be however big we can be while staying who we are. And I think Chocopro has finally given Ami Sakura that power to be that. And because of that, I think Chocopro will forever be intimate. I don't care if it becomes big, and I don't care if it stays small, but I think it will never be not intimate, because it won't be Chocopro anymore if we are not intimate.
Yeah, amazing. And for yourself, what are your plans for your own career? Where would you like to go? You've been to Mexico. You've obviously done well in Japan. Where else? And what companies would you love to work for?
Yeah, I started doing US like a year and a half ago. I've toured here. I've done a little bit of AEW. I've done a little, like especially CMLL. But I think what right now I'm feeling different than I've felt in a very, very long time, because I just came back and from Mexico representing India, and that felt different. That felt very different, because it for the first time ever, I think, in my career since I left India to go to Japan, I feel like I want to do something for India. I want to again have a big part in what becomes of Indian wrestling, and for that, I don't know what will that be. It might be me being contracted to a big company. It might be in 2 years me going back there and starting a fucking behemoth of a promotion. I don't know how that turns out to be, but I haven't felt like this in a very, very long time, and it felt nice. It felt warm doing representing that, and it felt like, and I always felt a little bit guilty running away, because I chose myself over Indian wrestling. Like I could have given my life to Indian wrestling, and I really could have made something out of it. I know I could have. I mean, it would have been hard, but then I wouldn't have lived the life of a wrestler. I would be a businessman. I would make shows and I would do things, and then it would, in like 10 more years, it would be something. I would be a businessman, but I wouldn't be a wrestler then. And I chose myself for what could have been like a journey for Indian wrestling. And I've always just a bit, I've felt a little bit selfish about it. And I think now I feel like if I can be a behemoth myself, I can make a behemoth of a wrestling scene in India. And I feel like I want to be that behemoth now.
Yeah.
That's how I will feel about my career.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment we've seen like the bigger companies. I know WWE's got a big show there at the beginning of September.
Yeah, September.
So there's obviously a really big appetite in India for it.
Yeah,
for the product. Do you feel yourself gravitating towards that, or do you think when you go back to India?
A little bit, yes, because like I think people don't really understand what wrestling is in India. I don't think even wrestling people understand that. I don't think even WWE understand that, because they've tried to have something out of it, like they did with Jinder. They did try to do a little bit with Kali and all that, but I think they don't understand the capacity of it. Mm-hmm. There will be a star from India in wrestling. I don't know who it will be. I will try my best to be that. There will be a first. And that dude, as huge as any Bollywood star. There's no middle in India. If you become famous for wrestling in India, you are as famous as any cricketer or any Bollywood star. There's no middle. There's no here. It's either to the skies or nothing. And to do that, you need to have something in you that lets you do that. You need to have that vision to become that, I think, at least. You need to at least know enough. And you need qualities. Like if you haven't made yourself in to be able to handle that, then it will be difficult. Like I think once you're in WWE or AEW or any of these big companies, once you are at that level of performing, you are the one performing. Nobody really can make you do that. Nobody can make you be a star, or like you gotta be that.
Yeah.
People can put you in that place. People can give you a platform to stand, and you are a star now. But for that to be successful, you have to be the star. You have to be that in yourself. You have to be that wrestling incredible matches or incredible doing on the promo or just being who you are exceeds people to get attracted to you, to spend money on you, to be invested in you enough that they care week after week or show after show. And I think WWE or AEW or whoever it is, they will try to give somebody that platform. And if that person is capable enough, we will see probably one of the biggest star ever in professional wrestling come out of India. Probably. Because if somebody becomes a star in wrestling in India, that dude is The Rock right away. Like, no joke.
Yeah.
That's how famous it is.
Big country,
it is such a thing.
big fandom.
It is such a thing. Yes, it is bonkers.
So is there a lot of room for smaller independent companies in India as well to thrive? Because there is such a big population, yeah.
Yes. But the thing is, like, to do shows, you need more than passion. And I think there's so much young people who want to do a lot of things. Kali has a dojo, so he's turning out a lot of talent in India. But you need somebody who can do the business of it. Like, to run a show, that's a business. It's for, like, you gotta give the devil its due. You can't run a show. It's so hard to run a show. My career started as a promoter. The first show I did, the second show I did, the third show I did, I was the promoter and the wrestler. So I know. At 19, I was doing that. So I know what it's like. I know what it takes to do a show. I know how hard it is. That's why I never fight with promoters. I know that hell. I've been through that hell. It's not easy. Wrestling is way easier than doing a show.
Yeah.
You just show up and wrestle, and you love to wrestle. Tell me what's hard. like literally. We love to wrestle. And we are getting paid to do so too. But to put on a show is, oh my God, it's like putting on a wedding. That's what it really is like. And you have to deal with like 20 brides instead of one.
Wow, that's crazy.
Every wrestler is one.
Of course.
So like, to have that business put in, they don't know. There's no model for them to follow. There's no upper person for them to see, oh, he does it like that, let me do it like that. So I think because of that, it's having a hard time. But I think those guys will make mistakes, and they will take time. And then in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they will have enough experience that they will put on more shows. And once one company gets going, then more company will get going, because they will have a model to follow. And I think it's coming. Amazing. I genuinely feel that way. It's coming, yeah.
That's interesting to hear. And I guess then finally, my final question will be, if fans are new to Choco Pro, what matches would you recommend that they find and look out for?
I would say any Choco Pro. Just go to YouTube, type in Choco Pro. You need 2 clicks. That's how easy it is to watch Choco Pro. Literally, just 2 clicks. One on Twitter or one on YouTube. When you open your screen, just open YouTube, and the second click you do is on our match. Any match. I don't care. Literally. Like, I can give you the big ones and these ones and that ones. The me jumping off a roof, or me wrestling Fujita to win the belt for, like, in a last man standing match in a freaking rain or something. Like, I can tell you 1,000 things, but no, any match.
Amazing.
Like, I think Choco Pro is way more than the technicality of being wrestling. Everybody is very good. I think we have forget about quantity, because we're very small, but in quality, we might be one of the top tier promotions in the world because of the quality of talent we have. Believe me, everybody I wrestle with, especially the veterans, are freaking world class. Like, world class. Chon Shiryu, watch any of Chon Shiryu's match. He's a literal living Jackie Chan. I've never seen a more creative, like, he can bring stuff out of the, you don't have any idea. He's incredible. I've never seen more, forget about creativity, because creativity is a dirty word at this point in wrestling. But ingenuity to do something that you don't even think of. Like, okay, of course you can do that. Jackie Chan does it. He wrestles with, like, chairs and stools and freaking stuff like that. And he literally can do that. It's incredible. Like, so I would say any match. Just go and watch us for a second, and you will get the vibe right away.
Amazing.
You will get, oh, okay, this is what this is about. Yeah.
Amazing. I'll do that, and I'm sure our fan base will. Akki, thank you so much for your time. I know.
No, thank you.
Airport.
I know it's been hard.
Yeah, no problem. It's been a joy to talk to you, and I'd love to catch up with you again in the future when you can come
Please,
over, and we'd love to
please.
see you over
You
here.
have my email anytime.
Legend.
Anytime.
You
And
take
if
care,
you
my
have
friend.
time, yes, of course, people do show up to Choco Pro, do show up to Eve. And if you see us in the town, do not shy. Come say hi. We love talking. And if you have your family, you get extra points.
Oh, brilliant. Akki, you legend. You take care, man. See you
You as well,
later.
Lee.
See
Take
you,
care.
man.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye, bro. Bye.